I'm sharing some New Year's recipes that you are gonna love. And with all the parties and dinners going on, these recipes are gonna be perfect for those. Hey y'all, I'm Valerie and welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I'm sharing 5 of our favorite New Year's Day and New Year's Eve recipes that your family is gonna love. Okay y'all, let's get started. This Hoppin casserole is a southern recipe and it's traditionally eaten on New Year's Day. We're gonna start out by browning up some smoked sausage. I'm using a 14-ounce package, but anywhere around a pound will work fine. I did cut mine into coins and then I cut each coin in half. And after it's good and browned up, we're going to add in an 8-ounce box of Zatarain's dirty rice. You're going to add in that packet of rice that comes in the box, and then you're going to add in the water that it calls for on the back of the box. And this box called for 2.5 cups of water, so that's what I added. I stirred all that together, and then I brought it to a boil, and then I dropped it down to a simmer, and I covered it, and I let it cook according to the directions on the back of the box. When it was done, I took the lid off and I gave it a really good stir. I did turn my heat off, by the way, and we're going to add in a few more things here. I added 2 cans of black-eyed peas and those were rinsed and drained. Also 1 drained can of Rotel and about a cup of sour cream. Oh, and I also added 1 can of cream of chicken soup. And you're going to stir all that together until it's very well combined. And I know this seems like a crazy combination, but just trust me on this one, it is delicious. Okay, we got it all mixed together. Now we're going to head over to the counter with it. I'm going to make this in a 9x13 casserole dish. And if you want to go ahead and spray it with nonstick spray, you can go ahead and do that now. It looks like I forgot. So just go ahead and add in that mixture and then you're going to spread it out into an even layer. Y'all have to let me know if y'all eat certain foods on New Year's Day too. We got to have the black-eyed peas, the greens, and the cornbread. Okay, now to top this casserole off, you're going to cover it with about a cup or so of French fried onions. Now this is going into the oven to bake at 350 uncovered for about 30 minutes until it's bubbly and golden brown on top. And I'm telling you, this casserole is absolutely delicious. If you love black-eyed peas and smoked sausage and dirty rice, you are gonna love this. I've even made this just for an easy weeknight dinner. And it is packed full of flavor. I really think you should give this one a try. We always make some greens with our meal. They're supposed to represent money. I usually do collards, but this time I decided to change it up and make some fried cabbage. In a large skillet, I added about 8 slices of bacon. I like to use my kitchen shears and cut mine into small pieces. You're going to cook it until it's crispy. Remove it to a separate plate and then set it aside. I'll leave all that bacon grease in the skillet there. I have half of a large head of cabbage here that I chopped up. Y'all just don't pay attention to this part, and you'll see why in a little bit here. I got to thinking and I forgot about the onion. I was supposed to saute that onion in the bacon grease. So here I am now removing the cabbage. Yes, I'm removing the cabbage. I'm telling you, I had 2,000 things going on in the kitchen. And I just was not using my brain this day. So to that bacon grease, I added half a diced onion and I let it cook until it was tender. And now I'm adding half a head of chopped cabbage. This just goes to show you, I am not a professional cook. I do make mistakes, but I love to cook and I have fun doing it. That's what it's about. And we all gotta eat right. So to season up this cabbage, I added a little salt and pepper to taste. And also about 1/4 teaspoon of regular or smoked paprika, and I also added Badia Complete. It's just an all-purpose seasoning, but it's really good. And I added 1 tablespoon of brown sugar for some extra flavor, but that's completely optional. I just tossed everything around and let it continue to cook over medium heat until that cabbage was tender. Mine took about 8 to 10 minutes. When that's done, you can go ahead and add in that cooked and crumbled bacon that we cooked up a little bit ago. Stir that around, and then this is ready to serve. This was so good. Love cabbage, and actually, I ate cabbage almost every single day. I love it that much. So y'all will have to let me know below. Do y'all like cabbage? And adding bacon to it takes it to a whole nother level. This broccoli cheddar cornbread is so good. You're going to need half a diced onion for this recipe. If you want to just add it in raw, you can, but I like to saute mine up on the stovetop until it's nice and tender. Then I added it to a large mixing bowl along with 1 stick of melted butter, a 15-ounce can of creamed corn. This just gives it a little extra flavor. I also added 4 eggs, 1 cup of cottage cheese, and I had just enough left in this container here. By the way, if you're not a fan of cottage cheese, you cannot even tell it's in here. I also added 2 boxes of Jiffy Corn Muffin mix. Now for the broccoli, I used a steamable 12-ounce bag of frozen broccoli florets. I did cook them in the microwave according to the package directions, and I diced them up really fine. Make sure you drain them and dice them up really fine. And you're going to add about 1.5 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. Now you're going to give this a really good mix. I had to stop because I forgot to add the salt and pepper. And that was 3/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. Now you can go ahead and give that a really good mix. I'm going to bake this in a 9x13 casserole dish, and you do want to make sure you spray it with nonstick spray. And yep, that cap just popped right off of there. Okay, now you can go ahead and add in that broccoli cornbread mixture and spread it out into an even layer. Now this is going into the oven to bake at 350, anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes until a toothpick inserted comes out clean, and the top will be golden brown. This broccoli cheddar cornbread is amazing. We all love it here. It's not super fluffy and definitely not dry. It's a little on the denser side. It's very moist, and the flavors in this is just delicious. Oh, and you do want to make sure you let this cool for about 15 minutes before you serve it. And it's perfect to make anytime you need a side dish. And it's something a little different than your average cornbread. And I'm telling you, everyone is going to ask you for the recipe. Now you gotta have beans to symbolize wealth. I seen this hot sausage black-eyed pea dip, and I thought it was the perfect appetizer. I'm just starting out in a large skillet. I'm browning up 1 pound of hot sausage. You're just gonna break this up and let it cook until it's cooked through. I'm going to remove it from the heat, get rid of that grease, and set it aside. This one comes together quick. I'm starting out in a large bowl. I'm adding 1 block of softened cream cheese. And stay with me here because this dip was amazing. I'm also adding 1 cup of sour cream, along with 1 can of Rotel, and make sure you drain that. I've got 2 cans of black-eyed peas here. You'll want to rinse them and drain them, and then y'all, I forgot to put them in. I went right on into that sausage. So now I'm just adding in the cooked sausage. And also 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And here I'm just mixing up my black-eyed pea dip without any black-eyed peas, like I ain't got no sense. I knew I was missing something. So make sure you don't forget to add your black-eyed peas. Now I'm pretty sure I have everything in here. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a really good mix. And by the way, if you're enjoying this easy recipe, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up. It really does help me out. It lets me know that you want to see more videos like this. When you get that all mixed together, you're going to grab a 9x13 baking dish, and I did spray mine with nonstick spray. Now you just pour in that dip. And you'll want to spread it out a little bit just to make sure it's in an even layer, but it does not have to be perfect. And before I put this in the oven, I'm going to top it with 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Now this goes into the oven to bake, uncovered, at 350 for 30 minutes. I have to tell you, this was absolutely delicious. I was a little bit skeptical at first, but it sounded very interesting to me and I had to try it. I mean, I do love black-eyed peas, but with sausage and in a dip, I don't really have any room to talk though. I always mix in some Duke's mayonnaise in with my black-eyed peas. It is so good. Y'all gotta try this dip. It was a 10 out of 10. Oh my goodness, this Butterfinger pound cake will not disappoint you. In a large bowl, you're gonna add in 1 box of yellow cake mix. Just make sure it's a 15.25 ounce box. Next, you're going to add in a 3.4 ounce box of butterscotch instant pudding. Just the dry mix here. Next up, add 4 eggs, 1 cup of milk, 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now you're going to use your electric mixer to mix this all up until it's well combined. And y'all, this batter right here smells heavenly. I wish they made a candle that smelled like this. I've got an 8 ounce package of Butterfinger bits here. You're going to add almost that entire package to that cake batter. I did save about 1/3 of a cup just to sprinkle on the top of the cake when it's done. We got to make it look pretty. Okay, after you get that all folded in there, this is ready to pour into that pan. I'm using a bundt pan, but you could use a 9x13 for this. And I'm sure it would even work in 2 8-inch rounds. But whatever you use, make sure you grease it really good and spray it with some Baker's Joy nonstick spray. I got all that cake batter in there and I'm just spreading it out evenly. Now this cake goes into the oven to bake at 350, anywhere from 50 to 60 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted comes out clean. And when it comes out of the oven, I do let it sit here and cool only for about 15 minutes, and then I flip it onto a cake plate. Sometimes if I let it sit in the pan too long, it tends to stick to that cake pan. I just had to wiggle it over to make sure I got it in the middle there. This turned out beautifully. Now we got to make some frosting to add to the top. You do want to let this completely cool though before you make up that frosting. Otherwise it won't stick to the top. Okay, after it was completely cooled, I grabbed a medium-sized bowl. I added in 1 stick of softened butter, 3 cups of powdered sugar. And if you want to sift this, you can. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I also added a teaspoon of vanilla and 2 tablespoons of milk. Now you're going to mix it until it's light and fluffy and well combined. And just to be on the safe side and so I didn't make a complete mess, I added that powdered sugar a little at a time. But that was a total of 3 cups. Okay, as long as that cake is cool, you're good to spread on the frosting. But y'all know I had to get a little bit fancy here. I put it in a piping bag and I kind of squiggled it on, kind of like the nothing bundt cake does. And I'm telling you, it does not have to be perfect. And if you wanted to skip the frosting, you could. You could just dust the cake with powdered sugar. But I highly recommend that frosting. And then I just took those reserved Butterfinger bits and sprinkled them on the top. And this kind of helps to hide any of the little mess ups if you make any. Y'all, this Butterfinger pound cake is out of this world good. If you love Butterfingers or if you love anything butterscotchy, you're gonna love this. It was definitely not dry. It had so much flavor. And if you ask my husband, he'll say you can't skip out on the icing. He loves everything sweet. Y'all better be glad though, or else you wouldn't be getting all these dessert recipes. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You may also like these. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more easy recipes. Oh, and I want to wish you a very happy New Year's, and I will see you in my next video.